record, so I will record. So we were talking about the project and about referencing. So the first task, let's not make it too big. So let's walk back from that. The index idea you can do on a you can have a navigation menu to navigate through your website. The Word document, no, let's not worry about an index there. One page project, yes, it would be okay, but you're probably gonna run out of space in one page. So as long as you have, if you do a one-page document, have different sections in the document for each of the different pages of your website. So that's what we mean. You need to be able to separate your description of them. So I hope that now is clear. I'm trying to make it clear. I'm sort of evolving as we go, though, right? So that okay? Resume recording. So
Thank you.
for your task, sorry, for your assignment 3, you need to make this document. It's got a few pages in it. Looks like 2 or 3 pages. There's some reference to some image. That's an image from Rio de Janeiro, isn't it? Isn't that interesting? So, but look, I'm not giving you that image. I prefer that you actually just produce your own images. Not produce your own images, capture your own images. I know you're going to get them off the internet or whatever, but use your own sort of creativity to to populate the images here with your own, so that it would be nice if I saw different images on different assignments handed in by different students. So that's what I'm going to ask you to do there. So you do have to create a web page, a website. You're to use internal CSS. That's kind of the standard, though, for this course, isn't it? Except for, you'll notice for your project, you have to do external CSS because you have multiple pages with the same kind of styling. But with this one, you're going to have multiple pages with internal CSS. So you're going to have a head, and you're going to have style tags and a bunch of CSS in there. The tricky bit about this, we've done a number of sort of labs on this, and so you can look back on how we did that. But you'll see that just like the last one we did in class, we have the form that we just finished. We had there the I am recording, I think. Am I not recording? Yes, I'm recording. We had there a head area. So you're going to start off this page with a head, put a border around it. So you'll specify the size of it and put a border around it, and then put your text in there as a H1 or whatever. Then you're going to have these 3 sort of columns here. Now you'll do those columns the same as we did columns in other assignments that you've had, actually just like we did in the last lab. In the forms lab, that was lab 8, you would be able to see how we did that. So you're going to do your sort of float left, and you're going to specify the size, the width of these. You could specify it in percents probably. If you specified the body of the page to be a certain px or whatever, then you can specify these as a percent, and then you'll get your columns come out all right. And then you're going to put a table in there. You've done tables before. Most of the stuff is pretty basic there, right? You're going to have a unordered list, a table there. That table is not too tricky. We do have some row span going on there, right? Because here you got 3 rows into 1, 3 rows into 1, 2 rows into 1. So you got a row span there. What do we got here? That could be another, that'd be a table. Yes, it is another table in there. So you got a couple of tables that you're doing there and a couple of lists, and you're going to have a number of different elements where we have to set the width as a percent and then float them left into the end, into each other. So the code that you've had for some previous labs, that will be helpful to you. And so remember, also you're going to have to do that create a div, which is going to be a grid that you're going to clear. So you don't have to call it grid clear. You can call it something else. That kind of looks like the same page, doesn't it? So is there only one page? No, it is. Is it? Isn't it 2 pages? on page 2, a sketch of your website, a border of each div. Yeah, it's 2 pages, but they look the same in the end. Okay, so there's one page like that. So it looks like there's one page that you have to do kind of free form. Create a web page titled. Why did I see page 2? It looks like just page one page there, right? If you guys server. No, I'm sorry. It looks like on page 2 is referring to page 2 of these instructions. So it looks like it's only a single page. That's nice. You have to make something that looks like that. My apologies for sort of getting, I just sort of pulled this up, that's why. All right, so are there any questions on that? It looks like these two, the one on the left and the one on the right, are the same width. So you could maybe use a class for them and style them the same. And, you know, because they're both going to be floating to the left as well. I mean, all of these 3 columns will float left, just as we've done before. And so, yeah, left and right columns, yeah, so they are the same width. And the center column is 400. So the instructions there are pretty clear. I don't think that you're going to have too much trouble with that. Keep the dividers there. Right. So on this assignment, I'm not giving you any images. So any images there, I will take and accept from you basically any image. I don't care. But I'm not giving you an image because I don't want all your web pages to look the same. I'd rather they were different. That'll actually make me feel a bit better that you've done the work yourself rather than sort of sharing them around. It is not external CSS. It's because that would be a separate CSS file. We call it internal CSS, where we put it in the head. So so other than the other than the project that you've got, the semester-long project, which we started this week. So it's not really semester long, half semester long project that we started this week. That project, you have to do external CSS, meaning that you will create a .css file for your project only, and you'll put all your CSS in that. And then in the head of each of the pages, you'll put a link to that CSS file. In this assignment, you don't need to do that. So in this assignment, it's only one page. So why do we need a CSS file? You can use in the head some style tags and put all your CSS there. So the content could look the same. Yes, you can do the same. You don't need to change the content. I just all I'm saying is I'm not going to give you images. You find your own images, and I don't care if it's Rio de Janeiro images. Well, here it says Rio de Janeiro. Yeah. So what the heck? Yes. Yes. So find Rio de Janeiro images, I guess, to make it sort of. Sorry about the dates. You could do that. You could change the dates to 2021. Same as we did with test 1. So test 2 will be basically the same as test 1. I have not seen test 2 yet. What I can tell you about test 2 is just what was shared with me, which is students should have finished up until the end of lab 8. So the material that will be tested in test 2 is material basically from where we left off with test 1 until the end of lab 8. We just worked on lab 8 yesterday. And so you noticed that, I hope you noticed that lab 8 was a form, and it was a form that had an action. It had a link to a PHP file that was on our SIT server. So you could expect something like that. You don't have to write any PHP. That doesn't come in this course, but you may have to do a form. So I would expect, based on that communication, that your test may include that you have to be able to create a form. Now, obviously, because we see this in this assignment, and we saw that also in lab 8 and in previous labs, you should be able to create a web page or web pages where uh, where you have different widths of different elements and that you have columns. You should be able to do all kinds of things with tables, row spans, column spans, all that kind of stuff. Uh, the question about cheat sheets, I will ask that question. We have a week until we um, until the test, so I can ask that. It'll be the same for all the classes. So far, that has been the case that cheat sheets have been allowed, and you know the deal, right? One A4 page with stuff on either side. So I expect it will probably be like that, but I can't say for sure because, to be honest, we haven't spoken about it. But that's what I'm expecting. That seems to be the default mode for this course is cheat sheets. So I think you can expect that. I will ask, and if it's not allowed, I will tell you. But if it's not allowed, just bear in mind that if it's not allowed for you, it won't be allowed for any of the other classes, so you won't be at any disadvantage. But I expect that it will be. As I said, just to be perfectly fair, you'll have it the same as the other classes. So yeah, that's so assessments. Where are we at the moment? We have a test that's on the 11th. Uh, it will include that you need to be able to do a form. You need to be able to divide pages up into different elements. You need to be able to style those elements using IDs and classes probably. You'll need to have some kind of clearing of your left and right um, uh, floating if you're using that. So the other thing is, in previous labs, we've done this fixed width for different parts of the elements, like sometimes for just columns and sometimes for other elements in there. So be able to work with fixed width, be able to work um, with that dynamic width, I guess you'd say it. The other thing is, I'm not sure if we've done it, but be able, yes, we have. Where we changed the, no, have we? Have we done, adaptive? I don't know. Adaptive would be where we're using the app media commands, and I don't remember doing app media commands, so not sure. So I don't think that's going to be in it. App media commands would be, if the width is 800, then we do a different font, and if the width's 400, then we do a different font, that kind of thing. I'm not sure that, I don't think we've done that, but we have to do that before the end of the semester. So if we haven't had a lab on that, we will have to have one. So yeah, that's where we are. And yeah, so I'm not giving you new work today other than this assignment. And you should be able to sort of do that. Okay, so I would say that no, you will not have access to Visual Studio Code. And so that's why I've been demonstrating to you using Notepad++ recently. And I think that you should expect to use that what you'll find in the classroom. I'm going to review it again. So I was just asked about delivery 1. It seems that you do have to get all of your text, all the text for your website. But bear in mind that that text doesn't have to be a lot of prose. You don't have to write sort of a story. It could be dot points or very, very short abbreviated text. Bearing in mind that you could put images and tables into a page, but you don't have to produce those images and tables for this first delivery. The first delivery is just going to be text. It can be kind of short. So I hope that sort of is clear.